Good Tuesday morning, big wave trading family. If I screw up saying Monday or Tuesday, just realize it's late Monday evening on Maui. Futures sold off hard following the North Korea missile test over Japan's airspace, but they have rallied nicely off the lows. And if you think the overnight futures is going to deviate me from my game plan, you are incorrect. A signal is a signal is a signal is a signal. If we gap lower, maybe I'll get some great fills on my new long positions. And if that's the case, then my first stop even risk less capital than I wanted to risk in the first place, so that's great. And then the second stop also risks less capital. So either way, gap down, let the long positions fill, hit my stops, I lose less money. Gap down, we rally throughout the session, awesome. Hopefully we don't gap down enough to hit any of my stops on my previous long positions, but either way, everything's exactly where I want it to be. So with that being said, let's get going. Once again, a ton of long positions. I want to go over these pretty fast. BLD is a new long position. It's in my Slim Perfect Speculator scan, so 4% of the account capital should be going into this trade. I don't have that available, so I will be investing accordingly. Getting long, limit order at the high day, 55.52. First cut loss, the lows right here, 54.52. And move below that, I'm out of half. And for now, the final cut loss is 52.55. But if this level breaks, chances that this level comes into play is slim to none unless it all happens tomorrow morning. That's about the only way that second stop will even be coming into play. What I'm expecting for BLD, by the way, what do we risk? Let's say all hell breaks loose on this stock. I risk 5%, and let's not even go all the way up to the top. Let's just use this meat right there, 53%. 10 to 1 reward risk ratio. Even if you half it, that's 5 to 1. Take that any day. SUPN, same situation as BLD. 2% Slim, 2% Perfect Speculator. Not in any other scan. Want to get long, 44.85, the high of the day. First cut loss level, this low right here, 42.81. Final cut loss level, 40 or 39.55. Mine will be 39.55, but you could use 40 also. But once again, what do I risk if all hell breaks loose and all the stops hit? 11%. What's the previous measured move even from here to here? 84%. So once again, we're looking at over 5 to 1 reward risk ratio with an inherent risk overall, if we're wrong on the entire position, right around 6%. So it's a little bit over 5%, but hopefully, like I said, with that gap down, we'll get a better fill. And then for the new long position, higher quality, IIVI, ICHR. They are both Slim quality stocks, with ICHR also being a recent new issue. So let's go over that one first, because it's going to be 3%, 2% for Slim, 1% for IPO, pocket pivot point signal. Right off the 10, 5, and 20-day moving average. I don't like that the 20-day moving average is trending down, so that's a little problematic. So if you want to use even a tighter stop with these lows right here at 1960, be my guest. But for now, my cut losses is 1905 and 1776, and I know that one's also far away. But once again, if we look at the breakout to the high move here, over 141%. So with that 11% risk, once again, 10 to 1 reward risk ratio, half at 5 to 1 reward risk ratio. So it's a little bit bigger than normal, but the first cut loss level, you got your 5%. So we're looking at about a 7.5% loss to make that big game. But once again, like I said, if that first level goes, the chances that the second level comes into play, unless it's on day one, is slim to none. I'll be raising either half or all of the stop if that level goes right there. IIVI, Slim quality stock. This was not confirmed in any other scan. And no matter how I look at it, I really can't show you. But it did close 35.10 higher than where it opened. So even though the candle on this chart looks like it's pretty much break even, it's still got a higher close and open. That max green bot following that volume surge that day gives us some pretty clear levels to work off of. I want to get long IIVI, 2% of my account capital, 35.35. First cut loss, 34.55. Final cut loss, 34.05. For me, since I can't max out on any of these positions and the stops are so tight, I'll just be carrying one at 34.05 with IIVI. And then ACLS is a Slim quality stock, kind of giving me an early long signal here. See lower or higher lows. You got a triangle pattern here. Looks like it's starting to get itself together with BOP turning positive here and now inching up to a green level. Got some accumulation showing up here with the below average volume on the downturn. So if anything, with the long position here, I really reduced my risk. So I want to get long at 2040 ACLS, 2% of my account capital. First cut loss, 1960. You could also use 1935 right here. Final cut loss, 1860. If it breaks this level and this level in heavy volume without hitting this level, once again, I'll be raising stops. I'm not going to be sticking around. And then CTRL, shock, shock, shock. It's actually giving an add signal. After this day right here, I moved up one of my stops. I think there was like 7 or 8 of them to move below 2345. It moved below 2345 on the 23rd. And now here it's bouncing near the 50-day moving average following a bullish reversal hammer candle print price bar on above average volume with max stream BOP. So it's an add signal, but since I still have a lot of my original position, I'm going to keep this one very small. Technically, it's supposed to be a 2, 4, 5%, half to 2.5% add signal. There's no way I would do more than a 0.5% to 1% in this name. And in fact, I believe the order that I put in was for 0.5% of my account capital. I basically, if I have, I think I can't remember how many. I don't have my broker up on my other monitor that I'm looking at. I have about 6 or 7 stops, 60 shares at each stop level. So let's say I have 300 or 360 shares total. I'm just going to add back the 60 shares I got shaken out of here at 2345, at 2344, wherever in the hell I was filled at. I'm just going to be adding it back. I don't want to put on a whole lot of new size in this one, as I'm really happy with my gains, and I'd really hate to increase my average cost and then see this signal fail. There's just too many new patterns out there, and if CTRL does work, I'll have some hindsight regret. But overall, if you look, the moving averages, while they're stacked 5, 10 on top of the 20, you can see the 5 isn't necessarily trending higher. If this chart was more rounding out off this 50-day moving average, and it was kind of rounding higher instead of just having a fresh bounce off of it, I would go ahead and look to increase size. But I'm long from back here, have a 56% gain. The symmetry of it all just doesn't look right, so I'm going to keep it 0.5%. Limit order, high of the day, 2367. First cut loss, 2287, because like I said, I don't want to give back too much of my other gains. And then if it breaks 2225, to me that ad signal's dead, because it doesn't have any green BOP. Till there is no support with green BOP all the way to back here, so that's why we're going to use that. And then MZZ, you can see this pattern right here, bullish engulfing candle pattern with a high day close. No real volume confirmation, but it's got green BOP for at least the past 20 days. And the thing is still, if I can get a half-ass hedge signal, I'm going to take it here because I'm very long. And if you look at a longer term chart of MZZ, you can see that if we do move higher, we have a potential big move that could happen in the small caps or mid caps, about a 20% move. And total that I risk if I'm wrong on this trade, if all hell breaks loose, is 6%. So it's not quite the 5 to 1, but it does have 4 to 1, and the inherent risk on the entire position if I'm wrong is right around 3.5%. So I'll take that trade overall. But still, a ton of long signals, including a hedge signal. This is a lot of work on my end, and I'm going to make this very clear to everyone. I would much rather go through my scans and have only 1 new long signal or 2 new long signals. But as long as chart patterns like this show up that give the reward risk ratios that these give, I've got to take the trade, because it's impossible. I don't care how cocky or confident anyone is. It's impossible to know that the stock that you're picking is the one that's going to work. So if you want to put 20% of your account capital into BLD because you think BLD is the one, go for it. For me, I'm splitting it up with all the new long positions. I trade scared, so I'm not scared to trade whenever you're in a scary tape. And that's what August and September tapes are. So you got to trade accordingly, or you don't trade at all. I trade accordingly. All right, good luck this morning, everyone. I'll see you in the chat room.